To existence. Welcome to the bias. Golden is best. Golden is best. I dare you to derp. I dare you to derp. Dare you to have better pen with ABCBC. Look at AP. Laugh at AP. APCB's best round. APCB's best round. Let's look at other things that America gets. M4 is better, it still is the best. Where will you go when AP is so bad? Shoot the M61. Shoot the M61. It has better pen. Welcome back to the channel. Those of you who have not been driven away by my fantastic singing, there's been a massive change in the meta of War Thunder, and I'm here to cover it. Lots of complaints coming in by the insert blank aboos, because they feel that they are losing something, and something is definitely shifting. Overall, penetration has been increased for many guns and decreased for some key ones that we'll get into. Generally, the American 37 has been reduced in effectiveness, a la M22. You're looking at 78, and that's a significant change from the around 100 millimeters of pen you would get with the M22, which enabled you to side shot things like Tiger 2s, and the M8 is down to a 78 at point blank range, not enabling you to penetrate the rear deck, or sorry, I should say the rear armor of a Tiger 2, even at point blank range, which not historically accurate, I know, but you can still pen the rear turret ring, so you can take down a Tiger 2H if you ask very nicely, which is just ridiculous in an M8. Overall, the American 37 should fare reasonably well. You can see the numbers do vary a bit. What do you mean, bye? We just started talking! So yeah, this is live, by the way. I wanted to get this one out without spending an age editing because, well, my wife is already still grumpy from the last time I edited videos yesterday. I pretty much took the whole day and left her with the newborn, and all the poop and milk was up to her. So, where were we? Looking at the, what's this called? The M3 cannon. Your standard round doesn't have the best penetration, but standard round is AP. If you look at the APHE, which is the one that you'll be running as soon as you unlock it, if you have any sense, you have fantastic post-penetration effect, and you're looking at around 100 mils of pen out to 500 meters, where it drops down to 90, which is still not bad at all. Not a lot of engagements taking place at a kilometer at these lower battle ratings, but at that range you're looking at 78 mils with a not bad 30-degree performance of 62, and a fairly useless 60-degree performance as you would expect out of the earlier guns in the game. So you can look at these numbers yourself, but overall the American 37 slightly less punchy than it was, but still effective in the BRs where you would expect it to be. The, what's it called? The M3, which is on a lot of the American medium tanks in the mid BRs, is improved in pen for the only round that you should be using, which is a fantastic bonus. That'll really help with the KVs. Before, you were looking at around 80 millimeters effectively of pen. Very difficult to punch through a KV or a KV-1B. This will certainly help with that. So, what about the long 75 and the 76? Well, looking at the 76 here on the M18, if I can get my mouse on target. I have a toddler climbing on me. What do you want? What do you want? You want to go wee? I think you just went pee. Yeah, your diaper is swelling. So the APHE sitting at around almost 150 mils at point blank, and then an easy 133 at 500 meters, down to just shy of 120 at 1,000 meters. Not bad at all. 30-degree performance, not bad. 60-degree performance, not very great, but still better than the APCR. I did some test shooting with APCR. It's still garbage against angled armor, so I would definitely stick with APHE, even on things like T-44s and Tiger 2s. You're looking at still the same kill shots and just a lot more damage with the APHE, so that hasn't really changed. Overall, the M18 should see an improvement in its perforation performance, and that is just perfect. Again, overall, most guns got their pen increased. Now let's look at the Cobra King. This is a tank that will go into armor and go to protection analysis and show you some of the vehicles that can take it down. Now this was the king of several updates for some time. But now, let's see, Jagdpanzer 38T, not going to go through. What used to have a hard time? Panzer 4G. Let's see if we can find something that can go through. Not really. You do have some chances on the flat part of the turret, although that's not the best chance. So Panzer 4G, still not going to cut it. There was something, though, wasn't there? The Jagdpanzer 4 and the Panzer 470A. This is the premium Panzer 470, and it can punch right through the front plate of the German Jumbo. The Jagdpanzer 4, not quite with its standard round. Do we have an improved round? APCR, still not going to go through because, again, still garbage pen on angled armor. And even though it says it has a chance here, that chance appears to be quite slim. So you still want to use APHE. You still want to go for those side shots unless you are a Panzer 470. What else do we have in this BR? Germany's going to have a hard time punching through the frontal armor of the Jumbo still. What about, well, first off, 4th rank. Let's see what the Tiger can do. So this is the same gun as the regular Tech Tree Tiger, and you see you do have a chance to punch straight through the front now. That is a significant change. So your Tigers in a down tier against a Jumbo stand a lot better chance than they used to. Now, even if you angle, hi baby, yay! If you angle, you do have something more of a chance. Can they sneak one in the transmission there? Not so easy. So angling with the Jumbo is going to have to become a thing for an up tier, and that's always been the case when you're up against USSR. So let's go ahead and look at that, and then we'll take a look at Japan after this. So the T-34-57, that's right, the 57 can go through the front of the Jumbo. So what do you need to do? You need to angle now. You have to be angled against a T-34-57. That is not the easiest thing to accomplish. Are Jumbo drivers going to start feeling like Tiger drivers? Well, we'll have to see. What about the Russian 85? Not going through the frontal plate. You're going to have to go for weak spots with the stock round. Do we have a better round? Well, let's try this one. Ah ha ha! What do we see? There is a chance. Not the best chance, but it is a one shot. So you do have, if you aim low, if there's a little bit of an angle here, it really is a close match. But if you have a little bit of a down angle, if you aim for the base of that plate, you do stand a chance of going through. Turret, no. Cupola, still a great shot. So, there you have it. I would still go for Cupola or trying to take out the cannon barrel. The cannon barrel on the Jumbo is tough to take down, but you can see there's some angle and it does no damage. So it's still not an easy thing with the Su-85. What about the KV-2? Their pen has changed. We're looking at 125 for that round and 95 for the APC-BC. So this one, big difference. Flat on, yeah, it can go through. Flat part of the turret, well, that's very interesting, isn't it? It splashes down because it has such an incredible amount of explosive filler. So if you aim for the lower part of the turret on the Sherman Jumbo, you can take down a couple of crew members, but that is not a kill shot and it doesn't take down the gun. So you're looking at Cupola. Yeah, that's a kill shot, and you have a chance to go through the front. So that is what you can expect. It's about a 50-50, it appears, and if you have any kind of down angle, which is possible because you're slightly taller than the Sherman, in a head-to-head engagement at close range, you can punch through that plate. So that's still possible, not as possible as it used to be. Let's compare that with high explosive. Do a little test shooting next to the gun. That took down the cannon barrel and a couple of crew and took down the mobility of the vehicle. Turret ring, again, barrel down, couple of crew dead. That's very effective. Cupola, turret crew dead, and breach out. So that appears to be the way. Maybe KV-2s will actually start shooting high explosive again. One can dream. I can't really get an undershot very well here. Let's try. Boom. Yeah, that is, looks like driver gunner. It could have been a one shot there. So what about the side of the turret? Flash down again, all you're going to get is driver. So with high explosive, large caliber high explosive rounds, as usual, if you don't have a clear shot on the weak spots, I would go for right next to the cannon barrel. It's going to take down the driver and possibly transmission, usually take down the cannon barrel as well. What if you hit the barrel? It does stand a good chance of bouncing, but because it's high explosive, it can also trigger after that. So that is the KV-2. Its one-shot ability has been reduced in the form of its APHE, which is just fine with me. And you do have to play smart still if you're going to use the high explosive. So, what about the T-34-85s? What do we have? Where is that? T-34-85. Okay. These can face the Sherman Jumbo, and we're looking at, well, let's just try this first APHE round. Bit of a down angle, and you have a chance to pen. Without a dangle, without a dangle, you got no heckin' chance to go through that. For the second APHE round, it performs better against sloped armor, and like usual, it does have about a 50-50 chance to one-shot the Sherman Jumbo if it's not angled. That's really nothing new. So there you have it. No real change for the T-34-85 effectively against the Jumbo. And I will move on from this point. Oh, actually, I want to look at one more vehicle, and that is the Japanese third rank Chinook 2. This is one of my favorite vehicles. Type 4 Co, we're looking at still some fantastic pen at around 150, which has better angled pen. Still the Type 4 Co. So let's take a look. No sauce on the frontal plate of the Sherman Jumbo. That's nothing new. You can take down the barrel, but you need to have, you need to have a good angle when you're attacking it. You see at about a 30-40 degree angle, you can take down the cannon barrel. If it's facing directly toward you, you gotta go for the hole. And there we go. That was a miss according to War Thunder. So there you go. It's not an easy thing to do. Cupola, still possible. Lower angles, you can, that is a surprising non-pen. But if you have something of a down angle, you can take them down. And again, you want to go for things like the track. So the Jumbo, still a heavy tank, not necessarily the beast from the east that it was in the past. What about the M4A1 FL10? In the premium line for the French, fantastic vehicle, and very capable of punching through the frontal plate of the Sherman Jumbo, even extending into the engine compartment. What if we have a bit of an up angle here? It doesn't go through. The turret? It does. So, if you're looking down on a Jumbo, aim for the hole, no problems. If you're looking up at a Jumbo, aim just to the right side of the gun. Oh, and you don't always have a chance to go through. So maybe go for the gun barrel. Or, yeah, that gun barrel is really hard. If their transmission is showing, you can go through, but you can see not a lot of post-pen effect. So if you're looking down on a Jumbo, feel free to go for that frontal plate. Let me actually... Yeah, it's only got 2 types around. Okay. So, there you go. In a Jumbo, you want to have elevation advantage. That angle to your frontal plate is a huge advantage, and you might have to laterally angle your armor a bit as well, but be careful. Don't show that side shot. Look at that. That's a one shot. So you need to be at more this kind of an angle. Oh my goodness, it still goes through. Wow. Okay. But all you lost is your driver there. So it really is going to be a balancing act in getting your Jumbo into position. If someone's looking down on you, you need to angle. If they're aiming down, it's harder to go through that side armor. So that is all you really have going for you, because again, your frontal slope is gonna be vulnerable. That kills driver, can't go through the frontal plate. There you go. Alright, things are changing. Things are changing, but in a small way. They're sort of staying the same for the Jumbo. Let's move on to other vehicles, and I'm also going to check the comments real quick, see what you guys are getting up to. Stephen White says, howdy. Howdy, Stephen. Puma, hi. Can't hear you. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Did I do this again? No. You can't hear me? Okay, you can't hear me. I can hear me. Can anyone else not hear me? Oh, it's Bacon's friend. Hey, Steven, I didn't know that. Puma's taken off. LMK. Look at that premium. Yeah, I love my golden lineups, but I'm a collector, and a lot of those are event vehicles. So what's the best AP-CBC in the game now? The IS-7 is 311 mils a pen. Fish, you may have found it there yourself. I've done a little bit of testing with the IS-7, and it has some nice effects. John Lentha, thank you for the compliment about the Scottish Koala interview. I put a lot of work into those. Hello, little one in the background. Yep. Ooh, I get a like. The Broken French. Yeah, the M4A1 FL10 is a monster of firepower now. It was fairly good to begin with, and it still has weak armor for a 4.7 medium tank, so honestly, not a ton has changed about the M4A1 FL10, other than everyone who faces it needs to realize their armor is not all that useful. If you can get the first shot off against him, you're probably going to kill him. So I'm interested to see how the balance of that vehicle changes. I wouldn't mind seeing the FL10 at a 5.0, 5.3, now that it has some higher pen. I don't think it'll change all that much. It has good mobility for a Sherman chassis as well. that tank baby is just sharing the joy. Okay, we looked at the 76, which should be around the same on the M6. But again, overall armor is going to be generally less effective, so keep that in mind. And we should also take a look at the 75. Who has the 75? Everybody's got the 76 here. Is it the... No, the M18 doesn't have it. Is it the M10? No, who has the... Who has the long 75 in the American tree? Or am I just crazy? Is it all 76? Is it just the light 76 and the heavy 76? 76 M1 and 76 M1, 76 M7. Okay, well they're about the same stats apparently. So again, not huge changes with that other than a bit of a penetration buff for the APHE, which will be your best round as far as pen and post-pen effect now. So just another reason to never carry AP in the American 76 tanks. That shouldn't be news to anyone. As for the 90 mil, it at 165, that's for the AP, isn't it? Nope, that's for APHE. Around 165 for AP, 170 down to 143 at 1,000, but not bad. 30-degree angle for the 90 mil. Looks like it's not a serious game changer. What's the APCR doing? Still high pen, but garbage angle performance. Not bad for small angles, like the angle on the Tiger 2H's turret cheeks. So that is still your way to take on a Tiger 2H from the front, and odds are with things like the Super Hellcat, you might have to do that sometimes. But I think it got a bit of a pen buff. Yeah, 170 is higher than it had before. I think it had around 160 or less. So it is a few millimeters difference, but effectively it's not going to change all that much. You're probably going to have a little bit more success frontally penning things like the T44, but you're still going to want to go for the cannon barrel and the flanking shot on things like the Tiger 2H. And again, if you're engaging a Tiger 2H at long range, you're doing it wrong up until you get into things that can punch through around 300 millimeters of armor, just because the Tiger 2H has such small weak spots. So speaking of, let me do a quick view on the comments after I show you the T28. So the T28 and the T95, or T92, is it? T95, I was right the first time. The T28 and the T95 both use the same gun, the 105 T5E1. Let's make sure on that. Yep, T5E1. So we'll look at the T28. This is one of the best premiums in the game. If you were wondering, at 6'3", it's a monster of frontal protection. Although some of the French tanks can punch through the frontal armor with their AP now if they get the right shot. And I'll go ahead and show that to you. So let's look at the T28 with some armor protection, and then we'll also take a look at the gun. Let's look at the gun first, actually. So the T13 has been buffed. You're looking at a point-blank pen of 252, which is fantastic, and at 1,000 meters, you're looking at 219 against flat armor, down to 75 against 60 degrees of armor. That is still enough to punch through some of those Soviet vehicles, especially considering your shot will be dropping by then. So you do have a chance to frontal plate things like the T44, if I'm not mistaken. So I could be mistaken. That is very powerful. As for things like the turret cheeks of a Tiger, those are still going to be your targets. Again, your kill shots haven't changed all that much, but especially with the American Long 105 with the APHE, comparing it to AP 280, APHE, interesting, 252. So the AP is actually better for the Long 105. I'll have to do some testing with that later on, but this is a rather rare gun. So let's look at the armor now. Protection analysis. Let's try some German tanks. Tiger 2P, you got the same gun as the Tiger 2, and you're not getting through. But very, very easy to take down the cannon barrel. That's a 20-second repair. Take down a track and pull off a flank. Well, it's going to take more than one shot to take down a track, so pull a flank. Or you could sit in front of it like a noob and go for the Coppola shots, but those are not guaranteed one-shot kills. In fact, they tend to kill one crew at a time. So take out that cannon barrel, reposition, get yourself a better shot. Side shots, very easy, very deadly against the T-28 and the T-95. So that's your strategy with the Tiger IIs. As for the ordinary Tiger, you do have a chance to face this vehicle with your Enzugranaut 39. Yeah, we're not going to look at that one. So this is your stock round, and you're looking at fairly the same strategy. That's interesting. It goes in, bounces around the barrel, and does nothing. Aim for the muzzle brake. That's the way to take it down. You don't have a chance against these from the front. So you want to take down the gun and reposition. What about the RU-251? Now this shouldn't have really anything changed, but I'm just kind of curious for comparison's sake to see how things play out. Obviously with Hesh, it's very easy to take down a cannon barrel. That's one of the best uses for Hesh, is to go for the cannon barrel. As you can see, even when it does that weird bouncy bounce inside the middle of it, you can take down that cannon barrel. Not a lot of other opportunities to use Hesh. As I mentioned, even on the Coppola, you're not looking at a guaranteed kill shot here, so you're better off not sitting in front of this thing if you're using Hesh. What about Heat? Again, you really should go for the cannon barrel first, and as you can see, even when it did that weird bounce, it still destroys the cannon barrel when you're using Heat. So I use Heat exclusively on the RU-251, and if you can get a shot on that muzzle brake, you've got him. As for through the front, you can go for the sides here, but I've noticed that just to the inside of the tracks seems to be a fairly reliable place. It's interesting they modeled the steering wheel there. You go for the gunner after you've taken out the cannon barrel, or maybe before, it's up to you in this case, just to the right of the track. If not, just to the right of the gun mantlet, right next to it. And lateral aiming is easier than vertical aiming, so you should be able to pull this shot off. If they're angled a bit, can you go through the sides here? Not so reliable. I would stick to aiming for the flat part of the armor, just to the side of the cannon breech, or the mantlet, I should say. The mantlet itself has some layers, and the breech is massive. So would not recommend, even with high penetration rounds, going for the mantlet, just to the side. Not the easiest shot, but very doable. That is something of an up tier though, isn't it? As for other vehicles at 4th rank Germany, not gonna perform real well against the Doom Turtle, and that is the way that it is. But what about France? They have some crazy penetration. AMX M4, can we go through the front with the 90mm rupturing obus? AMX M4 can take down the cannon barrel, no problems, but when it comes to punching through the armor, it starts to have some issues. That's at the same battle rating. At just a bit higher battle rating, though, the AMX 50, with its 100mm, gets almost 300 mils of penetration at close range. So again, cannon barrel, I always shoot the cannon barrel first, because that's what I would actually do in any match if I see this thing. Go for the breech, or go for the muzzle brake, and you can take him down. Shooting through the sides, you're not guaranteed to go through, but there's a driver kill, and there's a gunner kill. So you would have to peck away at this, but with your fantastic fire rate, it is possible to go through the sides of an unangled T-28. What if he's angled? Still shoot just to the right of the breech. Oh, I should say... there, that's actually kind of difficult. So is angling going to be a thing for the T-28? I like to do a bit of an angle. As you can see, it's difficult to go through the armor here, and there's a lot less places you can punch through. So if you're looking to sneak around in, you got to go for that cannon barrel, and again, reposition. Even the AMX 50 is going to have a hard time with the T-28, and T-95, same battle rating. So the meta has changed a bit, but the heavy boys can still bounce some things. Let's take a look at the comments and then see where we can go for that. Broken French, what is the pen? And Mysterious Gadget, good to see ya. Can you guys still hear Guppy in the background? She's being really cute right now. I have a noise gate on the microphone right now, but we'll see what comes through and what doesn't. I'm kind of interested to see what the M46 Tiger can go through, or any of the M46s. The heat round shouldn't have changed really significantly. Let's take a look at a few of the outliers in the American tree and then move on. I'm not going to cover top tier stuff just because, well, I'm not really interested in that. I know there have been some changes that are going to really affect top tier, but more often than not, I'm looking at side shots on people when I'm in a top tier match, just because it's so much easier to position yourself. So either somebody snipes me from 4K, or I'm going around getting side shots on people. So, for the T-92 light tank, this has been very effective with its APDS, and it looks like it's still gonna be. With a 30-degree angled pen at 500 meters of 207, that seems not bad at all. So, that's still looking pretty solid. And the heat round is still gonna be a fan favorite, I think, with over 120 millimeters of pen at a 60-degree angle. If the thing doesn't bounce, it looks like you're going to have some pretty good pen. So we might take a look at that when we're looking at the armor protection of some other vehicles, but overall not bad. What about the heavies? Well, let's go to my 6-7 lineup so I can talk about them. I got them all in one place, as it were. You like my golden lineups? So, the T-30. I heard this got a bit of a buff with its AP, and it's still going to be garbage for the APHE. So, oh, there's another round. This is new. This is new. So, the M112B1, not going to cut it, but the M29E1 shot, that can go through the turret cheeks of a Tiger too, at beyond 500 meters. So that is much, much more effective than it was before. This is going to be my go-to round now. The HE is still a lot of fun, but I think it should have more than 54 mils of pen. High explosive really doesn't have the effect that I feel like it should. It should cause internal spalling the same way that Hesh does to a certain extent, but it doesn't. So that's the world we live in. So the T29E1 looks like a good go-to shot for the T30. Brings its pen up to around the levels to be competitive with the Tiger 2H, although you're going to have to get those one-shots because your reload is still abominable. Good balancing factor for the T30. It really is a fun tank. What about the golden boy, the T29? This has been the most deadly of the American heavies, and it looks like it's still going to be. The AP, almost 280 mils at point-blank range, 242 at 1,000 with a not bad 83. Again, that's enough to punch through a T44 at 60 degrees angle. That is quite effective. What about the APHE, the round of choice? Still very effective, 252 at point blank, 235, 219 at 1,000. Not bad at all. Angled armor performance, not quite as good as the AP, but still reliable. And of course the APCR is trash on anything but a flat angle. So you really do want to rock the AP for punching through thicker armor. But do you need to go through more than 219 millimeters? You might want to go for the AP-CBC all the way. That would be my recommendation. Looks like it's going to be a true monster. The T29 is going to be a killing machine. Will it get a BR increase? 7.0, 7.3. Well, as a heavy tank, it doesn't have the armor to support that. And for a Doom cannon at 6.7, well, it kind of has too good of armor for something with such a good gun. We'll have to see how things shake out, but it's about time this thing had a more powerful armor pen for its main gun. It is a 105 after all. So, last up, the T34. Let's take a look at some pen values. Similar pen to the T29, but obviously going to have a more powerful post-pen effect. Are these numbers actually lower than they were before? Not quite sure. They're still quite high for a 6.7 with the amount of mass behind that round in the terms of post-penetration effect. So it looks like the T34 is still going to pack quite the punch. Still effective against sloped armor. And as for the APCR, it's still trash. Those numbers look high, but again, as soon as you get any kind of angle, it's not so effective, and the post-pen effect is just not what it needs to be. So, I do want to do some test shooting with the American Heavies, though. I'll have to do that sometime later. So the T-32 looks like it has a similar round. We're looking at, yeah, upwards of 200, which is, you really want to be around 190 or higher just to punch through a Tiger 2H's turret cheeks. That gives you something to shoot at, and everything else you can usually find a workaround. So those are going to sit at about the same meta as they were before. Okay, the USA is what I have the most experience with, so I'm not going to be able to talk with a lot of authority when it comes to things like Germany, but if we look at early on, the Panzer IIIF has some very solid pen at 71 for its main round. What about the Panzer III with its high velocity 50, 94? That actually seems to be something of a downgrade. At this battle rating with your high rate of fire, it might not be a bad idea to try APCR. It's a rare case, but you might want to carry two types of ammo and just swap to APCR when your rounds are not going through. Although at 3.0 you're going to face things like KV-1s and T-34s in an up tier. T-34, I'm really comfortable shooting them in the turret cheeks, so the turret ring, or almost anywhere in the turret, and that can take them down. As for a KV, you might want to switch to APCR and Snipe Crew. They do have some more difficult weak spots to hit, but at just under 100 millimeters of pen, an unangled KV can fall prey to your AP, HE, and APCR is there for everybody else. Panzer IV F2, looking like very similar pen to before at around 130 for its stock round. What about APCR? Well, it looks high, but again, you're not going to do a whole lot. So, not a big change for the Panzer IV F2. Those of you that play that vehicle on a regular basis can probably speak better to what's actually changed. The long 76 on the T-34, not looking great, but we'll talk about the T-34 in a bit. The Tiger H1, the Tiger E, and the premium Tigers. Let's take a look at the Tiger E just because it has more ammo selection. Stock AP HE is looking like, I don't get it. Is that just not listed? 153 there at point blank. So that seems to be a bit of an increase. And this one 164 at point blank. Again, with reduced performance against angled armor, but not terribly bad. The Tiger got a bit of a buff to its APHE, and once again, APCR is still trash, so Tiger overall a bit more punchy than it was before. Panther, I think, yes, the Panther has received a similar treatment, although it does fall behind the competition in penetration at 5.7, 6.0. Some vehicles are going to have better pen, but with 173, 155 at 1,000 meters, 191 at point blank range, you're going to have plenty of things you can punch through. It'll be that much easier to punch through the turret of a T-34-85, not to mention the hull. That much easier to punch through the IS-1, which is a serious threat to the Panther D, and IS-2 even being able to fall prey much more easily to your main cannon, now that you have even more pen. So Panther gets a buff, Tiger gets a small buff. Those are going to go a long way. The tank destroyers are generally better, with the Panzer 470 having a fantastic 191. The Jagdpanzer 4 sitting at only 139, so that is not as much, but at a 4.7 battle rating, that's not terrible. The Jagdpanzer 38T, the TD, formerly known as Hetzer. I still like to think of this as a Hetzer. It's just a slow chaser, that's all. Sitting at around the same performance as the Tiger 1 used to be. So Tiger 1, serious increase, or significant, even though not all that high of a number. Tiger 2's long 88, we've talked about that. Looking at some good armor pen. that'll really help you out. The Ferdinand, same deal. What about the Panther 2, the tank that didn't quite exist? Well, it's sitting at a similar amount to the long 88cc on other vehicles, surprising no one. What about the 105? Well, I was never really impressed with it, and it looks like I don't need to be. It doesn't seem like a serious increase in killing power over the... Ooh, didn't it used to have a second APHE round? Now it only has one. But the stock round sits at 250-ish, 249 at close range, down to 218 at 1,000. That is not bad at all. So it really is, it looks like they gave it the improved APHE round as a stock round, which seems kind of great. It gives you a reason to actually use the 105 Tiger. You can see I didn't have a reason to use it before. I far prefer the higher fire rate on the Tiger 2H, to the point where I've really been wanting to pick up the Slaw 16, but I just haven't. I've gone for other things when the sales come around, because I'm not going to buy that for full price. My wife wouldn't be happy with that. So that pretty much covers the Germans that I like to play, and so those are the ones I can really speak on. And I'll check the comments real quick before we go into USSR. Okay, Stephen White says Bacon Gaming. Yeah, I heard it the first time, but how you doing? Been some time since we played together. Yeah, Gadget. I haven't really played with anyone for a while, and I really want to. See me back in War Thunder a couple of months. Yeah. What is the pen on the IS-2? You know what, Steven? We'll be getting to that shortly, so stick with me. The Soviets, BT-5, BT-7 with its high velocity 45 is looking not quite so strong as it used to be. 69 mils pen with the standard round, APC 72 at close range, so that's going to be a significant change. The BT-5, as a reserve vehicle with 70 mils of pen, no worries. BT-7, again, 70 mils of pen. What about the low velocity 76? Oh my gosh, look at the T-26, look at this dude. Oh, his gun's so useless. Okay, that's yeah, that's still useless. That's just a total garbage gun now. So this, I think, used to have quite a bit more pen, but the post-pen effect should be good. You might even want to use high explosive with the T-26-4 now, if you even use it. You can see I haven't spent much time. This used to be a serious derp gun. It's derpy now, it just doesn't punch through the way it used to. What about the T-70? Same deal. The T-60 with its 50 cal, or sorry, it's 20 mil cannon. I didn't know that was a 20 mil. Is that, has it always been a 20 mil? I thought it was a 13.7 or something weird like that. Very interesting. This is a 20 mil. I didn't know. Only 35 mils of pen. Maybe that's why I didn't know it was a 20, because it has garbage pen. At 1.0, it's not terrible, but it's not going to win any awards. The T-50 with its 45, same deal. That is a serious decrease in punching power. So the T-50 is going to go down in power. What about the ZIS-30? Oh my goodness. Oh my god! That pen, though. 144. Let's take a look at the other round. You got 144 and 144. So you're looking at really great pen either way. It looks like, let's see, 1,000, 120. Yeah, they're about the same. So the high velocity 57 of the Soviets is going to be a monster gun with a 6.5 second reload. Is that for an untrained crew? I think so. The ZIS-30 is looking very, very good. Survivability is still garbage though, so it should be about the same, honestly, as far as how the meta goes. At 2.3, you don't need over 100 mils of pen, so we're talking, this would be more of one of those vehicles you can up tier and just lol pen people even at a higher battle rating. So ZIS-30 could be the new up tier tank. We'll have to see. It always has been a fun one, but now it's even more ridiculous. Su-76 What about the 76 mil Zis 3 cannon? Not all that great. We're looking at a standard 86 at point blank range. Different rounds don't offer all that much more pen. So, yeah, eventually you get upwards of 90 mils of pen. That should keep up with the Shermans fairly well. And again, at 2.3 battle rating, this shouldn't change all that much. BTR, what are you doing? You are not punched through true armor all that much. 27? That's not terrible for a heavy machine gun. What's the Matilda doing? Not all that much. But the star of the show is, of course, the T-34, with the 76 mil not looking all that deadly, but you get into the, where is it? The STZ. Actually, that pen is lower than it was before, if I'm not mistaken. AP's looking better on this one, so that is something to keep in mind. KV1, yeah, about the same, honestly. Getting into the third rank is where things start to get crazy. You've got the ASU with 160 mils of pen. Let's take a closer look at that round. Standard round, 160 mils of pen at 1,128. Not bad at all. The APHE, 144 at 1,110. Not bad at all. So, word on the street is ASU 57 can punch through the front of a Sherman Jumbo, and that word is correct. What else? SU 152. Let's check the APHE. 170, 152, 165. 148, yeah, close, long range. This thing is still a derp gun, so good to know. SU-85, 146, that's sitting at about what you would expect. KV2, we've mentioned, has been reduced in its APHE penetration, but it can still be effective at its battle rating. You might want to start carrying more high explosive, though. KV-85, with that Soviet 85 mil gun, is looking about the same pen that it used to have. Maybe a bit less insanity when it comes to penetrating angled armor. I've noticed a bit of that in testing against the Jumbo. That's good to see. It was way too effective at punching through angled armor. So same deal, of course, with the IS-1. What about IS-2 with its 122 millimeter? You're looking at about the same, around 200 for the APHE stock round, and about the same for the other APHE. Against angled armor, though, the improved round does have improved performance, and that looks quite good against some of the sub-60 angles. So that can be very useful. IS-2 should still be a derp machine. That hasn't really changed all that much. So what else are we looking at? T-44 with the 85 Zis S53. That is not the best performance. T-44 100, yeah, looking about the same. So not huge, massive changes that I've noticed so far. But again, I don't play the Soviets all that much. I play against them quite a bit, so I try and know what they can do. It looks like qualitatively not all that much change. And just to make sure I got the question, yeah, AC fan says Americans got the, oh, AC, good to see ya. Americans got a buff for APHE and a nerf for the AP round, so that's just another reason to never carry anything other than APHE. Maybe a few APCR if you're in something like the Jumbo, to do things like punch through a Tiger, but other than that, no worries. What is the IS-2 pen? Right, yes, it's around 200. It's about the same as it used to be. Okay. Britain. I'm just going to skip over these lower BR vehicles real quick, checking on the pen. Yeah, it looks about the same, roughly, as it was before. Not a real qualitative difference. Getting into the different models of Valentine, the Mark 1 still has better reload rate and armor pen with the Mark 11, because why not? having probably better post-pen effect and a longer reload, surprising no one. I haven't talked about the AA vehicles, actually. Let me go back to USA. I've heard the 40mm Bofors has gotten pretty ridiculous, and I'm seeing 71 here with the standard round, and there's no AP built for the... Oh, actually, I'm full of crap. It's right there. It's 71 at point blank. That's not bad. Not great, but not bad. I heard France was packing a strong one, so let's look at that. 71, 93. So the 40mm T1 cannon has better penetration than the 40mm Bofors, sitting at 93. You can punch through the side armor of things like Tiger II. At a 4.7 battle rating, there's a lot of things you can punch through from the front, at least cause some problems for. So the AMX-13 DCA-40 has a well-deserved reputation, apparently. What about the Soviet AA? What about the ZSU-37? Sitting at around 70, pretty much on par with the Bofors, which is just fine. Moving back to Britain. What do we have? Oh, the Crusader AA? About the same as it used to have with its armor pen. What about the 17-pounder? 170 with the stock round, as you can see. Moving up to the improved round, 189 point blank, 154 at 1,000. That's some very good armor penetration. And as we know, the post-pen effect on the 17-pounder is not bad at all when you're firing AP. What about things like the 75mm QF Mark V cannon? About the same, maybe a bit less pen than it had before, but 90 is not bad for the battle ratings you tend to see that one. And what else do we have? That's about it. The Comet, we could take a look at the APDS. That's looking pretty good, but it tends to not do so well on angles. And the regular AP is, well, it's not looking real hot, but I'd still carry some AP just because it has better post pen. What about the Shot Mark 8? That's not bad. Okay. Moving on to the Centurion, standard round 170 pen, and I believe that's AP, yep. And then you get into the improved AP rounds, and you're looking at about the same for the regular 17-pounder, and APDS is not a big surprise. So, not a huge change for the Brits. A few numbers have been shifted around a bit, but qualitatively, you're probably not going to really change your tactics. Nobody plays the Black Prince, but there's some stats on that one. And as for the Cold Det, I would love to join your squad, but I just can't right now. I will definitely accept your friend invite, though. What about the 84 on the Carnarvon? The Carnarvon? I'm not sure how to say that one. Oh, sorry, I can't squad with you, bud. You'll probably get that in a bit once the chat catches up. What do we have here? I gotta wrap this up pretty quick. I gotta do daddy things and give my wife a break. 231? Oh, that's not what I wanted. 231 on the APDS. What's the regular shot? Oh, sorry, 231 on the Shot Mark 1. That's not bad. At a 6.7, you're going to be able to punch through things like the Tiger IIH's turret, even out to 1,000 meters and beyond. That's not bad at all. I would probably carry the Shot Mark 1 if it could hit the broadside of the barn. I wonder if it has accuracy issues like it had before. Upwards of 280 for the APDS, but the post-pen effect is not quite so good. I might have to start carrying the regular Shot Mark 1 for the Carnarvon and the early Centurions. Tortoise should have fairly similar... Ooh. Is that 255? Is that 226 at 1,000 I see for the AP, which is the only round you should be using? Tortoise is good. I don't know if that's better than it was before. I think it is. So, that's nice. As for the higher rank stuff, I'm not really interested. I can't really speak on that. But, if we take a look at Shot Cal, word on the street is, your lawn dart ain't as pointy as you thought it was. But, 337 mils at point blank with 306 at 2 kilometers. You should be just fine. You should be just fine carrying that M111. Okay, moving on into Japan. We're going to look at some of my favorite tanks. A lot of these are going to be rehashes. We know that the Chiha has a garbage gun now. Chiha Kai, not too bad with its longer 47. So you're starting to get into good territory fairly soon. The Ho-Ni, what are you doing, bud? Holy moly, it's got 102. Okay, so the Type 1 APHE is a beast round now. Lots of high explosive and a good amount of armor penetration. Used to... Interesting, the high explosive isn't very good. So the Ho-Ni got some great punch through for a 2.0. What about the Ho-Ni 3? Okay. Am I confused? The Nato, still a fantastic tank. It's got the same stats as it used to have, apparently. Chinu 2, good gun, still gonna be a good gun. Again, no qualitative difference here. So even though some of these numbers are shifting around quite a bit, the main thing to take away is a lot of the Americans can just run APHE all day long at low to mid rank, and most other things have stayed pretty much the same with the exception of the French, so we might as well get into that. Oh, and the Ho-Ris have increased penetration, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that. The Type 2 APHE on the prototype having the ability to punch through the Tiger 2H's turret cheeks at 500 meters, but not 1,000, so you still would want to snipe against those guys. But at close range, you can punch through just about anything you'll face. So Ho-Ri prototype is a beast at 6.0. So let me just perform some community service here. I gotta... Did you... Is it dead? I think it's dead. Let's talk about death, Guppy. Yep, it's dead. The tablet is dead. Shut down. Shut down. Okay. It's dead, Guppy. Ah! I got a toddler crawling on me. Okay, let's wrap this up real quick. So, let's skip Italy. Nobody cares. I'm just kidding. They get the 17-pounder fairly quickly, so that's good for them. What about their lower battle rating stuff? Ooh, 77 on the AP for the P40. That's not really enough, but not a big difference either. 50 mils for the 47 mil cannon. What about these other vehicles? Yeah, about the same. About the same. So they're not looking bad. The 20 mil on the Breda has 40 mils of pen still. That's pretty dang good for a 1.3 vehicle. Rapid fire 20 mil. And the same for the L333, which has an improved fire rate now. So it's the smallest vehicle in the game, as far as I can tell. And it looks like it. But you get those side shots, you get a surprise on somebody at a 1.0 battle rating. You could do okay. What about the rest? I don't care. Listen to somebody else about it. They got a lot of American guns. They got a lot of chemical-based ammunition that's not really going to change all that much. What about this fella here? Yeah, you're looking around 300 mils of pen. Once you get into the 8.0, 9.0 battle ratings, it seems like armor just doesn't matter all that much. So what about the Auto Magic? Let's see what they've done to this thing. Have they done anything to it? The APHE at only 60 mils. I think that's actually lower than it was before. And the Lawn Dart looks about the same. High explosive, who cares? If it hits, it kills. An airplane. So, Francais. The reserve tanks are looking like a Garbo. Armor pen 48, that's not terrible for the longer 37. And what about my boy Hotchkiss? Yep. So the H39, not bad at all. I like this little guy, so I'm glad he's doing okay. These two have been taken out of the tech tree, so I still get to play with them if I want to punish myself. But 36 mils a pen and 36 mils a pen, so that's not as bad as it was. What about the... Ah! Look at this dude! Look at this dude. Okay, it's got a fuse sensitivity of 6 now, which means it can actually set off its fuse if you're firing within 500 meters. But punching through armor, treat this more like a high explosive round would be my recommendation, and just stick with the APCR, which is trash, just like you if you decide to drive the H-35. And what else? That's pretty much the way things are. In low tier, you're looking at similar pen for your basically your 13.2 Hotchkiss machine guns are gonna punch through more than your APHE, so don't use those. What about this little fella here? The 25 mil has a very respectable 63 mils a pen at close range. Although I suspect that's gonna drop off. Not bad. 1,000 meters, you're looking at 39. That's enough to punch through a lot of rank 1 vehicles. Consider the AMR 35. What about the S35? Yeah, it's about the same. M4 we've already talked about. The this 47 is the same as we'd looked at before. Not bad. Not bad for a 1.7. Not good either. Just about what you would need. Solid adequacy being expressed. The APHE on the 75 for the B1 is looking pretty dang good, but at a 2.0 battle rating, well, that could be a challenge. Look at that, I don't have the biter, and it's not in the tech tree anymore. SAU 40 sits at a 2.0, its 75 is looking not bad for 2.0, but not great. It should be able to punch through things fairly well. There's other issues that make this tank less fun to play, especially when you look at the M10, which does have increased pen for its APHE. It is a death machine at 3.7, even more than it used to be, and I think it can still sit there, because it's always been a bad idea to let an M10 look at you, and the armor is not the best, mobility not the best, and turret rotation is just abysmal on this thing, so the meta's not really going to change for this vehicle, I suspect. What about the M4A4 SA50? Looking at 181 mils of pen at a 4.7 battle rating. That's quite good. It already had good pen. 201, 160 effective, almost at 1,000 meters. So the improved round, fantastic. You should be able to lull pen most things that you face. Even a tiger, even a panther. You should be able to punch through frontally just about anything you'll face. So the M4A4 looking quite good. Still not all that effective armor for a 4.7 and useless from the side. Mobility not the best for a medium tank, so it shouldn't change all that much. Just a bit more reliable of a gun when everything comes down to it. This tank has always been fun to play. It should continue to be fun. And then going into the Lorraine 40T, you're looking at almost 300 millimeters of pen. The AMX 50, same deal. AMX M4, significantly far back with 214, but at a 6.3 with a rapid firing AP, that should be just peachy. So the Lorraine 40T and the AMX 50 looking quite good. Quite good. What else? CA Lorraine, almost 300 at 6.0. Is no one talking about this? This tank used to be pretty much a turd just because it has a huge profile, not the best gun handling, and no turret. Long reload of 15 seconds, almost 16, and really just not all that impressive, but with almost 300 millimeters of pen, that is a significant advantage at 6.0. You should be able to punch through things if they don't see you coming a mile away because you're a freaking French house. With garbage armor, I might add. 50 mils at not the best angle. Char 25T gets that 90 mil that we should have already talked about. The AMX 13 having about the same gun. Oh, nope. The Char 25 actually is a bit better than the AMX 13. AMX 1390 fires chemical rounds. Those shouldn't have changed all that much. As for getting into the higher tier stuff, it might sound like a broken record, but I don't really play this stuff, at least for the French. So the Foch sitting around 300 pen, that's going to be good, but at 7.3, not, you know, it's not going to make all that much of a difference, especially with almost a 20-second reload. The Foch is looking like a Doom Cannon, one-shot wonder, especially compared with the autoloaders you have at a lower battle rating. So the French are still the best from around 6.0 to 7.0. After that, if you're good with things like the AMX-30, which is very possible to do, they're not bad at 7.3, but you get in the higher levels and, well, you get this turd. So they stop being competitive fairly quickly. That's all I have to say about that. You are being hacked, says Puma. Okay. Did I give out information I wasn't supposed to? Anyway. YouTube person view counter is broken. We're like 200 people watching right now. Cool. That's exciting. Hopefully I didn't disappoint you guys too badly. I do need to move on. This has been a really, well, as brief as possible overview of the changes. I'm interested to see what stands out. What stands out to me in looking at these things is what you've probably already heard. The French have a serious buff to their AP for most of their vehicles, so they're looking very strong when it comes to actually killing things, which is something we've seen with every patch, really, since the French came out, has been sort of admitting that they have quite a bit of killing potential and trying to balance that in some way, and I think they're going to be okay. For a very skilled player, they can do horrible things with the French medium tanks, and I expect that to remain a fact just because of their great fire rate. The British celebrate your 17-pounder is just as awesome as history tells us it was, even if your reload rate on the Sherman Firefly is a bit optimistic still. Japan, no major changes. Tiger gets a bit of a buff. The American 90mm AP or APHE is about the same, so your STs and your Type 61 should look about the same. Chemical rounds haven't really changed. Not a lot of change for the Japanese. Let's see, not a massive, but a significant buff to the Sherman's guns between the short 75 and the long 76. They're looking just a bit more competitive, which is always helpful. The Sherman Jumbo is getting power creeped. Its armor is not quite as effective at 4.7 as it used to be, but it is still some of the heaviest armor you'll find at 4.7, so there's still a meta to play there. The Doom Turtles are still looking pretty tanky, but there are some things that have a chance to punch through their cheek armor in ways that was not so significant before. And the Germans, Tiger gets a small buff that should be meaningful, especially against things like IS-1, and Panther gets a small buff, same deal. Tiger 2 gets the Long 88 gets a buff, which helps all around. The 105 Tiger 2 gets the improved round as a stock round, and as we mentioned, the pen, not bad for a 7.0 battle rating. Not as good as a lot of the AP that it can face, but that's always been the case. There's plenty of armor that's around 200 millimeters you can punch through at a 7.0, and that really good post-pen effect is really what you're paying for when it comes to the Tiger 2s, and that's always been the case. Tiger 2H is still probably one of the most competitive vehicles, just for the fact that it has a very good chance to one-shot people once you really learn the gun, and I think that's the main issue. With those German vehicles, the Tiger, the Panther, the Tiger 2H, anything with the Long 88, when you learn how to hit those weak spots, your good post-pen effect really comes through for you, and you have a decent reload rate as well. Looking at things like the American Heavies, the T-29 is looking pretty beastly, but it was always strong. It's just going to be able to lull pen things a bit better now. 279. Anyway, there's plenty more to talk about, and I'm sure we'll be talking over that over the course of the next few days. Overall, armor matters just a bit less, but I don't think this is worth burning down the world for. Let's play the game and see what happens. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. I gotta get back to being a daddy. My wife has just been awesome. Babe, I love you. You are precious. Okay. Let's see. A good friended... Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Hello, man, how are you? 10 Thoughts says, can't really focus on the stream, but I'm gonna keep the stream on, though. Well, bud, I gotta go. I wanna go be a dad. Anyway, are you laughing? Are you giggling? Hey, Guppy, say bye-bye. Say it louder, though. Ready? Ready? Up here. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Good job. You are so cute. I love you. Can't wait for your little sister to be able to say bye-bye, too. Okay. Bye-bye, guys.